mind-pointing instructions and practiced it, then at that point, when all the emotions stops, one would be able to recognize the reality and become a Buddha. Such people, such individuals are individuals with a high capacity of realization, a high caliber. So after that, when one recovers from this kind of unconscious state, they start to abide in the state of the ground primordial consciousness or primordial wisdom, the gnosis of the ground. Now, if one has practiced the trekche aspect of Dzogchen practice, trekche, which literally means something like cutting through practice, which has to do with the mind-pointing instructions and meditation on the reality of the mind. If one has done such practices very effectively in this life, one would be able to recognize the state of this ground gnosis or this primordial wisdom of the ground, and one will get liberated. If one doesn't recognize this state if one doesn't recognize this wisdom of the ground, this ground primordial wisdom, then one starts to one starts to get confused and they start to go worse. So after this stage, if somebody has done the tögal, the transience, the crossing over practice of Dzogchen, then one would experience the appearances, the empirical signs of the tögal practice at that point. And it is at this stage that if one had the internal practices, the internal capacity to manifest, one will see the appearances of the 5 family Buddhas. First one will see the sky blue light which is blue in color in center of 5 other different color rays. And that is like the blessing of the Buddha Vairochana, the Buddha in the center. Now, if one had with a strong, if one is accustomed to the practice, then one would be able to recognize the Buddhas as one's own personal deity, and thereby one would be able to get liberated. And after that, one experiences the white light, which is the ray emanating through the blessings from the heart of the Buddha Vajrasattva. And if one recognizes the Buddha as such, then one will be able to liberate.
Renchen was servo, was a strong Sunday Michaba Demba, Tilang Asam,
And after that, one will have experienced the light which is yellow in color, which is associated with the Buddha Ratna Sambhava, Rinchen Junglen. And if one recognizes that, one will again be liberated.
Deities was a marble, was a trot. Sambu Tilang Asam Yabat. No other Wapamage.
And after that, there is the light which is red in color from the Buddha Amitabha, which, if one recognizes, one will again get liberated. Now, all these rays, Rinpoche emphasizes, is extremely radiant and have the 5 different circles of light in different colors to indicate the 5 family Buddhas in all of them.
Deities, the Yoruba was a language. What was it?
And after the red, then there is the light which is green in color of the Buddha Amoga Siddhi, and it will be in the same manner. And if one recognizes that, one will get liberated. And after the 5th one, there is also a possibility, or it happens that there will be all the 5 different lights in 5 different colors appearing at the same time. So with these 5 different lights from the 5 different Buddha families, if one has already practiced properly during the lifetime, one would be able to recognize them, and also the appearance would be longer. But for those who are not accustomed to it, they wouldn't last. So for those who are not, who haven't practiced during their lifetime, these appearances would be very momentary. They would disappear instantly.
There are also the same thing. Young Yeremado, Tati, Chudung, Conale Maret, the Yenao,
the experience or the appearance of such lights are common, or are they appear to all the sentient beings. It's not just to the people who have practiced that they appear. But the capacity of recognizing it, the capabilities of recognizing it and elongating it is totally dependent on how much one is used to it through practice. So for those who are not used to the practice, the appearances would be just a flash for an instant, and they wouldn't be able to grasp anything. So if we talk about a person who is dead, these appearances, the experiences that we have talked about until now, occurs during the first week. Then after that stage, the appearances are totally dependent on the individual propensities. But generally speaking, it is said that there will be the peaceful deities of the death, of the peaceful 40 peaceful deities appearing. So the peaceful deities appear during the third week, and after that until the 6th week, the wrathful deities would appear.
yana te kaso ya toya de be kanga yores.
But at that stage, there's so much difficulty in getting liberated.
Toyi lado tonin je on Kenji lenken da khada re ma to idan lan da parti sab tu ge ma.
Because when one encounters or has this experience of the wrathful deities, they are very much like the messengers of the dead. They are wrathful and terrifying. So one wouldn't be able to see them as deities.
When kuma chapa la so ba den da so ngam ba ji no ni sun do di ron so so she me tang ji ji o pa wo mo bo yong no ni jo jo so so ji ge ni tang ji ro ge ba se pe di no da ji ye dang ji la so song da tang ji o de ne so so jo jo se ni de ne ji da mo ji na jo tu le do ya de pe kang ye re.
It is just like the case where if there is a horde of robbers coming into the house, and then there are also some other gang trying to protect you, you won't be able to recognize who is who, and you'll be scared of both. In the same way, when you have this experience with the wrathful deities, although they are deities to protect you, because of their appearance, one would be terrified and won't actually recognize them as deities. And if it is true that if one recognizes the deities as deities, it is possible to get liberated, but it is difficult to recognize them as deities in such circumstances. But for those individuals who practice very well in this lifetime and are accustomed to such appearances, it would be very easy and good for them. It's the habituation which becomes effective. But if one is not used to such appearances, then such wrathful appearances wouldn't be of any help. But because of the karmic propensities, such appearances will definitely appear to all the sentient beings. It is taught that the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities are already inherent in one's own body right now.
So
when the body dissolves at the time of the death, they all sort of, get projected, and therefore we get the appearance of the peaceful and wrathful deities.
Kyabje
If supposed that I were to die at 3 today, then I would be having all this experience of the Bardo. If one died at 3 p.m. on Sunday, then the next Sunday, exactly the same time, one would again have the same repetition of this experience. And for 49 days, it is said that every week, after every week, one would have this appearance, this experience. So for Tibetans, when they have funeral rites for 49 days and always observe the 7th day of since the death, it is because of this reason that they do it.
Di Kyabje Penor 치 나이가 봐도 그 시보 때니 반 대완다 시오나 니바탄 때도 팬토기요레스.
So at that particular point, that weekly point, if one does some rituals or reads some text, and if there is a strong link, if that dead soul, that individual, could receive the message, if there is a link, then there will be some impact on the dead person.
치 냐레 메싱에 되나던데 다다 나히 잣노네 그랬더니 디트럭 누아게 툰도 이티까지 세기요. 나히 잣노요. 되네 나히 선디스 쿠온디 시로 마히 ngom마히 마히 와진다고 되네. 되네 다 바디 두마타 디용게로. 매면 갈람 말로 나란던데 차르더니 나히 잣노게 봐. 잣스 송와도 뜻이 오면 하던데 시에 바롱이 롱고 미시네. 어때 되네 마트네 바디 두마타 되는 바 계속 용거로.
It is after the projection of the different lights that we have talked about as the two different vital essences moved and sort of coalesce. Now, at that time you fall unconscious, and until that stage most of the people, ordinary people, wouldn't even know whether they're dead or not. And it's only after that stage that one has to experience the suffering of the death.
Then after that, Ranasoso Nani so young, Rondi Chino Yondi, Mesoking Kaya Majeba, and educated on Kodunga Control Sagres.
So the individuals who gains consciousness again, the consciousness which comes back from that unconscious state, wouldn't still know that they are dead, and therefore when one sees one's family members or relatives or friends, because one is dead, one would think one would know that one is dead, but other people, one would think, are ignoring one. So one would get extremely frustrated for not being able to interact properly. Other people would be seen to be mourning the death of the person, but the person would try to prove or show that he is not dead. And so in this way, the consciousness of the dead person, not recognizing that it is dead, sometimes you would have all kinds of experience of suffering, that sometimes because of the dissolution of the element of the earth, it would be having feelings or experiences such like being pressed under a huge mountain or under some landslide. And because of the dissolution of the water element, he would get this experience of being carried away by rivers, of drowning in the river. Because of the dissolution of the fire element, you would get this extremely hot sensations, as if he is being burnt alive. And because of the dissolution of the air, you would get this experience of being very light and being blown away and being crushed. So one then gets this experience of seeing all these external elements as being destructive to oneself.
nru da tong tra mo ba tu jin kha ga na wa ta ding gen ro an da ji de da trouble on the mission na chu chu gi.
If one hears a sound, then the sound effect would be such that it would be as if there are 1,000 lightning or thunder at the same time, and as if one's eardrums would burst.
Tene rimba gen da nga khit sa yin sa re so te ro so san non da je ko gi.
And it is after these kind of experiences that it gradually sinks into oneself that one might be already dead.
Tene la yo di ta de cher ro gi di ka ta.
And when the fact that one has already been dead sinks in, the fear and the suffering increases.
Tene sha den tra somji dine den tra somji pale tati zupon de no gi rong zupon rong nong gi res.
After 3 weeks, one that is one
tati zupon de no gi rong ji tong ale ro.
Sum gi jealous one.
Som ba. Som ma ta.
Until the third week, until the end of the third week, one would have the feeling of having the same body as one had during the lifetime.
Nga se tong ma re koron no ale te.
The living people won't see him, but he gets the feeling that he still has the same body.
Te penche le tene ta shema le ten ga ne na di no ade khu che ro yong gi.
Then after the end of the third week, after the 21st day since the death, he will have the feeling of whatever body he is supposed to acquire in the future life, and the feeling of the future life will become stronger for him.
Tene no ri tu je was kadon na tu kya gi res.
Then there are also the lights, the 6 different lights associated with the 6 different realms of sentient beings that will appear.
Karbo Danku, Marbo, Duka, Tendeji Kadon na tu de kya gi res. Was there me ba ti le de kya gi res.
And there will be these lights which wouldn't have any radiance, but which has these colors of white, green, yellow, dark blue, and so on.
Yena tena ta ji ringi was it kendo na jo tong mo de ba kadon na nga kya de tele trahi. No reduji wo kadon de na wo tong dong me ba de tele gai na ma de kya gi res.
When the immensely radiant light associated with the 5 family Buddhas appear, one gets frightened and would avoid it. But when the rather dim light associated with the 6 different realms of the birth appear, one would be accepting it. One would be one would be able to cope